types of transportation of materials through rivers. There can be traction, that is the dragging along of greater rocks and boulders, and there can be siltation, that are smaller pebbles bouncing along the bed of the river, and there can be suspension. These are silt and clay, so small particles held in the water and transported with it, and there can be then solution. These are the minerals dissolved in the water. And the rocks and pebbles, these are the bed load. The suspended materials are the suspension load, and the other thing, the dissolved things, the solution, the dissolved load. And that is according to Geography by J. and Brian Gressley on the page 18. The positions and views expressed are about the resource and not necessarily aligned with my own or with the ones of the entities spoken.
Hello, Becker. I'm trying to learn Potamology today, river processes, and after we've done that, we're going to do tiptoe yoga. And if you participate in the tiptoe yoga, then it's very young. Now this is part 2, and now we're reading the second page. The middle and lower course of the river. Okay. The fastest water current on the outside of a bend causes erosion. Okay, the water is fast on the outside of a bend. So if the river goes around a bend, it is fast on the outside, and when it scrapes the along, called hydraulic action, when it makes the erosion scraping away the outside. Slower water on the inside of the meander means deposition occurs, a sandbank or slip of slope develops. I'm just wondering where the beaches are on such a river. Now they're saying, and where the water is going now slower along on the inside, where the minerals which were suspended in it and so on are slowly depositing. So on the outside there's erosion more scraped away, and on the inside more deposited. The river banks on the outside of a curve becoming steeper, forming a river cliff or bluff. The water is scraping away faster on the inside, there's nothing deposited down, and it becomes more and more cliff on the side where it goes around. A sandbank or slip of a slope develops. Yes, but so a sandbank occurs where the sand is laid down and it gets flat there, the other side cliff. There's going away. As the river flows through lower-lying land, it flows faster and with less turbulences. Why is it flowing faster? Less turbulences. The bed load is smaller. They say the pebbles and rocks brought it with it. That could make it faster. But why is that happening? Lateral sideways erosion is more important than downward erosion. Okay, it becomes more important when the river is going to the sides like that than downward erosion. Why is that happening? Does the river make less height differences? And because there are less height differences, less difference in height down, it's going more to the side and becomes probably also wider because the main force is downwards. And also downwards makes it not so fast. Now, it makes at least a little bit sense. When mountains are a river or brook goes just on 5 kilometers, a kilometer down. Later on it can be a kilometer, not even, or more than 100 kilometers. There's almost nothing then sometimes. Okay, lateral erosion is more important than downward erosion. Later on in the river it is more lateral erosion than downward erosion. Which wouldn't even be possible because when it would dig itself in, it would never reach the ocean. It is already almost at ocean level. But why? There's less. I don't really know why. But deposition also occurs. Okay, deposited is also. Features such as meanders, oxbow lakes, floodplains, and levee develop. Okay, meanders, these are these things to the sides, I think. Oxbow lakes, maybe we'll say it in a moment. Okay, in a moment, and floodplains. Okay, we're gonna say it in a moment. The river forms gently curves or meanders. Okay, through these going to the sides. Meanders and oxbow lakes. Meanders cause lateral sideways erosion across the floodplain. Okay, it goes to the sides and it makes them more to the side away. And on the inside is set on. It's deposited, so that it goes more and more to the side and then back to the other side. Land around the river floods and silt deposits accumulate. Okay. It can flood the area around it because it's lower. The Oxbow Lake will eventually evaporate and disappear. Meander neck is broken during a flood. New course of the river. Meander is cut off from the main channel, usually during a flood, and Oxbow Lake is formed. Okay, an Oxbow Lake. There can be a meander, and after some time it's just way too far away, and the river is coming and going so much to the side. When there is then suddenly a big flood, the river is coming very strongly, something flows over, but then it goes also directly in front where the river is. And after it had done that, when during a flood, when the river is going through that side because it's easier, after some time there is nothing going over to that side, it's just always flowing here, and that is now just a little lake, an Oxbow Lake, which over time also evaporates and disappears. Deposition. The river drops its load when it no longer has enough energy to carry it. That is an interesting definition. The larger, heavier material is deposited first, and this is seen higher up the river. Pebbles gravel, sand, and silt are deposited in the middle and lower course. The dissolved load is not deposited but is carried out to sea. Okay, if it hasn't enough power anymore, it keeps lying in it, that first the bigger stones and then the smaller ones, and what is dissolved or very small is carried out. But over time also the bigger ones must go out in some way. Maybe they need a way longer to dissolve and go into small pieces. But I don't think they mean. It seems a bit as if it seems to indicate that these big stones never reach the ocean. They not, but the material of them after they have decomposed, whatever, gets decomposed more. I think. The mouth of the river. As the river enters the sea, it tends to form a wide funnel shape called an estuary. This part of the river is tidal and has a mixture of fresh water and salt water. Deposition of fine silt and clay around the estuary can form extensive mud flats and salt marshes. But why is that happening? Because it's so flat? Why is the mouth of the river so big? Okay, the region is called estuary, and there is some salt water from the sea already and some sweet water, what is it called? Fresh water from the countries there. Okay. A bluff line which marks the edge of a floodplain. It's called bluff line, so the place to which the river could possibly or has flooded. Floodplain covered in a deep layer of fertile silt. It is fertile silt. How is that measured? And is that something regularly done? And how often is it checked? How fertile the region is around rivers, volcans, and so on. Oxbow Lake, okay, an old meander, and Levis, the deposited things next to the river. Estuary, the mouth of a river, or estuary, the place. Is it not both? No, it tends to form something which is called an estuary. Okay, it is the mouth of a river, which is often an estuary, a region where water is mixed from both sides. Okay, we rejected. If you were here for Potamology, you can go directly to the next part of Potamology. Then we're going to go back to the page or something, maybe onwards. We're going to come back to the page and try to make a little presentation saying what was said, how the river is forming its meanders and so on. If you stay here and participate in the tiptoe yoga, then it's visit your own muscle. Have the feet standing together, the reef in the arms up, and come on to tiptoe. And out and down. Come always to the big toe with the feet. Out and down. In and up. And out, open to the side. In and up. And out, open to the other side. In and up. and onto the side, make an inch space between the feet, in and up, and out, lean onto the knees, breathe again in, and out and up, again in, out, up to the other side, in and up, and out and down, in and up, and out and down, breathe in, and out, make a hill with the back. You can go the feet down, the heels in the middle, out the belly, in the middle, out the hill, middle, belly, and middle, and out with the round back at the top of backward shoulder roll, heels down. In the arms up on the tiptoe, and out and sink down, this can down to the knees, in and up, out and down, in and up, hands down, heels down. Have the feet sitting apart, one points in front, the other one to the side, in the arms up. And out, bend the front leg, come with the front leg on the tiptoe. In, reach in front. And out, lean back. In, straighten the leg, and out, down, out, down. Other side, breathe in. Out, bend the front leg onto tiptoe. In, reach in front. Out and back. In, straighten the front leg. Out and down. Legs a bit to the sides. In, the arms up on the tiptoe. And out, sink down. And in, tend to push something heavy up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Hands down, heels down. Have feet standing together. In, the arms up on the tiptoe. And out and down. Breathe in. And out, stretch left leg. In middle. And out, stretch for right one. Middle. And out the feet to the side. Breathe again in. And out, go over to one leg. Breathe in. And out over to the other leg. Again in. Out into the middle. And close the feet. Breathe again in. And out. In. And out. In. And out comes slowly with the round back up at the top and backwards, shoulder. And in the arms up. And out and down. That was the tiptoe yoga. I thank you very much and until the next time.